Okay, gang, Mike J. Anthony here, and I want to look at the Bitcoin market in a historical perspective. So I got this chart up from CoinMarketCap, and I want to take a look at these numbers. I think this is interesting to look at the historical perspective and if there's any kind of parallels that we can glean from then and today. So, wish that thing would stop popping up. Anyway, so I'm looking at the market from September 2013 to February 2015. This was the this was an all-time high at the time, and it started in this is September, and you can see it's going it's low here. It's at 125 bucks. Remember when Bitcoin was this low? I do. But I did not have much faith in it at the time, or else I would have bought a lot more. I did own some, but not a lot, and I didn't hold on to it. And that's the key. A lot of us say, "Oh, if only I bought back then." Well, that's not really the question. The question is, would you have been able to hold all this time? And for me, that answer is no. I would not have held for 10 years, even if I did buy it in the very beginning. But even if I bought it 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4 or 5 years later, around this time, I still wouldn't have held it till today or until, last December because I didn't know enough about the market at the time or about Bitcoin at all. And not only that, but I also have a job. So jobs are death traps. They keep you broke, they keep you in debt. And if you have a job, it usually means you also have some kind of credit card debt or mortgages and things like that that you go to work to pay. And because you have those things, that would have prevented me from holding on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the kind of thing that I would have only held on to if I did not need it for anything. But of course, having a job, I needed it to pay bills, so I would have definitely sold off what little Bitcoin I might have accumulated back then. So, I take it with a grain of salt looking back like that because I definitely would not have held on as long as it took. And that is the whole point of this video is that I want to look at how long these things take because everybody has this mind frame right now that they want it now. They want everything now. They want this bull market to restart again now. Well, let's look at previous bull markets and see how long they actually took to play out. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen the same way, but there are some parallels. No market is exactly the same, but as we've seen throughout history over and over again, things do play out nearly exactly the same way, meaning we always have a boom and bust cycle. Okay, it may not happen exactly the same numbers and types of people and products being sold, and the places, the names of the places change, but we know all that. But what parallels do we have? We do know that we're still going to have boom and bust cycles. We still know that we're going to have all-time highs and lows. Those things we can pretty much guarantee. So let's look at what's happened on previous highs and lows. So back here in September, you can see that it was kind of just trading steadily along at 125, $130, fluctuating somewhere in between 115 and 130. And then October hit, and guess what? We're coming into October 5 years later, the next month in about 5 days, because it is today is September 25th. So on October 2013, Bitcoin skyrocketed suddenly and it reached an all-time high of over $1,100. And it actually hit like 1179, 1149. Yeah, so 1149, um, according to how far I'm zoomed in here. And that was it. It had a little double top here. It hit over 1,000 and went to 1,100, came down. This was the beginning of the end, came down to 888, and then it had one last top, which happened to be the all-time high at 1149. I think it was actually 1152 because I wrote this down. So, and then we had this long period down, okay? And we hit the interim bottom here at 378. which was roughly where it was at back on November. So it was November 2013. So it got back to that in April. So November, December, January, February, March, April. So that took 5 months for it to come down this mountain, come off the top of this mountain, and down to its interim low, where it then made a correction before it had a long, steady march down to back down to $200, which we're now in 2015. So we're now in January 2015. So it pretty much took all of 2014 with it. So once it reached that top in December 2013, by the time 2014 rolled around, which is right now, January, 2014 was horrible. 2014 was nothing but a long grind bear. It took the entire year to bottom out. Not to correct, not to go sideways, but just to bottom out. We have been doing that in our current market for we're going on 10 months now. Next month, we have been doing the same thing, finding a bottom. It took over a year for this to find a bottom. So those of you who are looking for a return to a bull market still have longer to wait, is what my point is. So let's fast forward now. Here we are. We're coming into 2015, and we're grinding sideways. So we've had a whole year of grinding sideways. Notice the prices are still in the 200s. 200, 200, 200, 200. We finally broke over 300 in July of 2015. So remember, this all started in December 2013. Okay, so we're talking about a year and a half here. Back down to 200s again. So September 2015 is the preliminary stages of a new bull market. It's already in a bull market, but it is trading sideways, meaning the market is going to turn. But look how long it took to trade sideways. So if it took all of 2014 to go down, it took all of 2015 to trend sideways. It didn't start going up until later that year, which is October. October is when it finally started to see, once again, just like in 2013, new highs taking place. That was the start of a new bull market, and it hit an interim high of over $450 on November, December, and I think this is going to play out a lot like 2018 this year, where we'll see, an interim high that we haven't seen in a while, but not one that's surpassing a new one yet. But this one is that, it's trying to hit 500. We're now in December 2015. So at least we're not in the 200s anymore, okay? But look how long it took to get out of the 200s. It wasn't until now you got all of 2016. We're in 2016 here. And it's trending sideways, but only at a higher amount. It's trending sideways at about double the amount it was in 2015. It didn't start to reach a new significant high until May of 2016. That spring, it started to really take off. So let's go and look at that. So here's the spring of 2016. So I started basically back here. So I'm going to have to move this in some because it went up so high that it now took out and made the other highs look pretty low by that time. But this is where it really took off. Was that summer of 2016. Now we went over 600. We're up to 700 levels, and we're kind of going sideways again, back under, but never back under 500. But we just went down from the $800 levels, but still over 500. And this went on for the rest of the year. Then it said, oh, October rolled around again. October is always a month of transition for some reason. But here we are in October again. I mentioned October for the third time now, 2016, and it starts to go back up towards its 800, the high 700, mid to high 700 levels. It doesn't break that earnestly until December, where it suddenly goes to that, you know, January, the price is at 1100. This is the beginning of 2017. Now, we've been in a bull market for quite some time now, but the prices are just steadily rising up. Then we had this interim top because now it hit 1100. This is where it hit its previous high. So it hit a big brick wall after it went over its previous high back in 2013. Had a correction, which a lot of people would have called a crash then, down to 777. But that was just the beginning, because we all know what happens after that. You know, it goes over, it's now, for the second time, way over its previous high. Remember, these were all-time highs at the time. And I have to zoom back in again because, again, what happened next makes everything else look so small, but it wasn't small at the time. So here we are. We're still in 2017. We're over 1100 decisively now. So now we're trading on a daily basis at the or over the previous all-time high of 2013, December 2013. So it dips under 1,000 in March, but that was just another sign that there's a lot more to come. Then it trades sideways from March, April, but on an upward trend. May, people are starting to get excited. $1,500 in May. It's surpassed $2,000 for the first time in May of 2017, right here, 2005. So now I'm going to stretch this out. And we see that here we are in October. So let's go to see what happens. So we had May, right? Now it's over 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. August. It's just kind of marching steadily upwards. Back down to the 3,000s. But October sees 4,000 and 5,000 for the first time. Another transition. So boom. Now we're at $5,000. It corrects. Goes all the way up to 7 something, comes back down to 6. We're right where we are today. Okay. We're almost exactly a year from this point, and we're almost exactly at the same spot. So then, it rockets off to heaven and hits $20,000 before it cracks down. So we all know that, but we've seen how long this took. This whole period of time from top to top took 4 years. Okay? And this is it. It's hard to believe that this was a top back then. Right here. But it was. This was a top. But because of what happened in last December of 2017, it looks like a tiny blip. But it took 4 years for this to play out. 4 years. So those people who think that we should be going towards the heavens in only a year, our history does not support that. I'm not saying that it could take 4 years again, even though it could. I think it'll happen a little bit faster, but it's definitely not going to be in 1 year. So fast forward to today. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. We have now come out of this mountain, and it's taken us a year to do it, just like it did in 2013. So that's one parallel right there, is that it's taken a whole year for it to find its bottom. And right now we are paralleling that big time, in my opinion. Everybody wants a bull like this to return yesterday, but it just markets don't work that way. They take time to bottom out, they take time to consolidate, to go sideways, and they even take time to march back up. That was a long march back upwards. It took a year and a half for that to happen. With the new bull, when the new bull market started, it was 2015. So I mocked up these slides here to give you a view of prices. From 2013 to 2017, we hit a new all-time high on November 30th. For the first time, Bitcoin had surpassed $1,000, 1,153 to be exact. Then on December 4th, it came down and hit another high. So this was basically the double top before it fell. And I separated this out because I wanted to pay special attention to the fact that this only took 5 days for this double top to happen before the bottom fell out. And look how long it took. The bottom was reached January 14th, 2015. So December 4th, 2013, from its double top to January 2015 was 13 months. It took 13 months for this to reach a bottom. 13 months. We're only going into our 10th month of our climbing out of the mountain that we were at back in December. So it took 13 months the last time this happened for us to reach a bottom. That was just to reach a bottom. Forget about returning to a bull market. That was just to bottom out. The bull market did not really start until another 11 months after that, when it surpassed $362 on December 4, 2015. So basically that's more like, yeah, so about 10, so January to December, so yeah, 11 months. It took 11 months for that to happen. So it sat there meandering for another 11 months after it bottomed. Okay, this is after the bottom. So right now everybody's kind of concerned because we've been meandering around 6,000, 6,400. But that's what it does. That's what bull markets does. It did it back in 2013. Look at this, 11 months. This is after we reached the bottom. So we still have a lot of meandering to do. And okay, so then after that, it took another 13 months after that after the meandering, to surpass its previous all-time high. It didn't surpass its previous all-time high until another 13 months went by. So now you're talking about, we're at 26 months. So we're already over 2 years. So over 2 years later, 26 months, it took to surpass the previous high after this bottom. So, look at these dates here. 9 months here. And then it took another. So you're looking at 26 months between the bottom and before it had reached it surpassed its new all-time high. Once it surpassed its new all-time high, back on January 2017, it then took another 13 months. Sorry, it took another 11 months after that to actually reach a new all-time high, which was, of course, December 17, 2017, where we hit $19,689. And so basically, that's how long these things take. So notice how nothing says 3 months or, the only thing that happens that quickly are double tops and double bottoms. But to actually play out a whole phase, it takes months. It takes months. So this is where we are now. So let's look at this. From 2017 to the present, okay? Here where we reached our new all-time high. After that, we did a double top. The double top took 18 days. where it had a serious fall and then it rose back up to $17,630, but not 19,000. So it was over at this point in time. Then it fell the very next month. It fell all the way to $6,114, all the way from January 5. So 1 month later, it fell that quickly down to 6,000. And that is a pretty steep decline. And that was its interim initial bottom. It's not going to be the last bottom because as we saw back in 2013, it took like a 13 months for it to reach a bottom. So now it starts meandering down, and we had an initial low on June 24th, and then what we have here is what, in my opinion, a double bottom 5 days later, which was June 29th, 2018, where we hit 58.40. And then in August, we started moving up somewhat. And I still don't know if this is the low because it's still too low to tell. But right now, I think it is. But we've had higher highs ever since, and actually higher lows, I mean. And that next one was set just below 6,000 on August 13th. And then ever since then, we've kind of been meandering between, we did have a quick upward move to 7,500, which was rejected and sent back down to 6,000. And we're currently around 6,400 today. And we have been meandering sideways around that price ever since. But we have not gone below 58.40 so far. Doesn't mean we can't, but so far we have not gone below. So right now, if this low stays put and becomes our all-time low, then that would stand to reason that we are in the consolidation phase, just like we were in 2015 and 16, which in 2016, a new bull started. Actually, it started in 2015, but you couldn't tell because it was just going sideways at those prices. But they were not going down; they were just staying put and going steadily upwards. And when things are doing that, you can't really tell that you're in a bull market. You just you just buy. You can't really tell what's going on. But if you look at these prices here, everything plays out in long periods of time. Well, what we think is long because everybody wants everything now and yesterday. Anything taking 6 months or more is like forever in crypto world. But that's actually normal. It's normal for us to be in this downward trend for a year. That's exactly what happened during the last one. So it doesn't surprise me that we might have a couple more months of this bearish trend. I think first of all, I think we're still in a bull market. We're in a bull market. We're just in a correction phase of the bull market. It will resume its bull, but because we had this blow off top here, this has to be corrected. And this doesn't correct overnight. It doesn't correct in a couple of months. It usually takes a year or more. Back in 2013, it took 13 months for them to come out of their all-time high and reach the bottom that we now know is the bottom. It took 13 months. I still don't know if uh, I still don't know if this 58 is the bottom yet. I don't know. Right now it seems to be, but there's still time. We still got a couple more months to tell. But one thing is for certain, we are coming into a transition month of October. So we could either see a break upwards or we could also see a break downwards. And I'm right now getting consensus. There's some people that say it's going to break up. Some people say it's going to break down before it breaks up. So and that both of them are possible. And either way, I don't think it matters. I think whichever one happens, it's still going to end up breaking upwards either after a downward move or maybe it's just going to start going up. Either way, it's going to end up in the uptrend, I believe. And so let me get to the fun part here. Predictions. Speaking of trending upwards, I think Bitcoin by the end of December of this year, I think it will end up around 12,000, possibly maybe just shy of 12,000. or more. So, but I'm thinking it's going to hit, if past analysis of the 2013-14 trend is any hint, then I think that Bitcoin will be around 12,000 at least by the end of this month. I did think it would be higher. A lot of other people think it'll be higher, but that's just what I'm going to say. Again, this is all just for fun. I have no idea where it's actually going to be, but I'm going to say $12,000 by the end of this year. Some people are saying 30,000 or more. So, but here's what I also think. Because it took 4 years for the last one, let's say it parallels 2013 and it takes 4 years again, I think it may not happen quite that long. I think it might be a little bit less. It could be 3.5 years, let's say, it takes. But I do believe that by 2020, 2021, Bitcoin will be at $157,000. And that is my fun predictions. And that is, I think this is being very conservative, actually. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? I mean, what do you like about this? I like looking at how past markets went and how the 2013, which we can barely see anymore. I gotta like take away things. But this is what 2013 looked like into 2015. Look at that. From top all the way for them to reach their bottom, it took over a year. And we haven't even hit that point yet. But yet it's still it's doing the same thing, isn't it? If I take us to our current market 4 years later, and I look at what's going on from our previous top, it looks like the same thing, only they didn't have such a high point as we did. You know, we went up many times higher than their previous all-time high did. And the same thing's going to happen again, but only, and this is going to look like a blip, just like 2013 does right now. At some point in the future, I would say probably by 2021, this current market that we are used to right now is going to look like a blip on the screen, just like the all-time high 2013 did. But the point is that these things take time. They take a lot longer than people are comfortable with, a lot longer than we like. Back in 2013, you know, the general public didn't care. I think a lot more people care now than they did back then. So that's why I don't think it's going to take quite 4 years, but it's still definitely going to take more than 2 or more than 3. You know, it's not going to be, some people think it's going to start like now or at any time or this year. I don't think that's the case. If history is any guide, history is telling us we still have a couple more months left to find a bottom. If we haven't already found it, then we still got like another 6 to 9 months to a year to meander at those prices and accumulate, and then another year on top of that to start to move upwards and into a new all-time high. All of those things take many, many months. So expect more months of sideways movement, not configurations, consolidations, and for a new all-time high to be set, many more people need to come into the market. They need to believe that nothing's really going on, even though we're actually going to be in a new bull market, but it's not going to be detectable. Just like in 2015 and 16, we were very much in a bull market and nobody saw it. It didn't really start moving until October of 2017. That's when everybody said, oh my God, I better jump in. But it had already been going on for a year and a half before that. So that's what I mean when I say it's pretty much undetectable to most people. So we still have many more months to go in this thing before we start to see new all-time highs. And that's why I'm saying we won't see one until 2020, 2021 possibly. Okay, so that's it. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video.